Let me just make sure we're actually live this time. I'm not trying to start the stream. You guys hear me? Yep. I think we are live. I think we are good. Yes, we are. There we go. What's up, everybody? I should have my energy for this one. So hopefully no dozing off or anything like that. But yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G33. I am back here today with another video on the channel for you guys. And today we have another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. Here tonight, we are going to be previewing and predicting WrestleMania 38. We're going to go through the entire card. I'm going to give you guys my prediction for every single match. I'm going to tell you guys what I think will happen on the show for the most part. Of course, you can't ever 100% predict these shows. There will be, probably some shocking returns and some other crazy moments. But all in all, it should be, you can kind of predict most of the show, right? Or somebody out there will be able to predict most of the show. But, I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, everybody's going crazy because earlier before I turned on the camera, I was watching the the Bucks and Nets game, and everybody's talking about Giannis becoming not only the all-time leading scorer in Bucks history, surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but that crazy step back three he hit, and that thing was crazy. I think Giannis, showed the whole world tonight that he probably is the best in the world. I was never the biggest Giannis. Well, I know I've enjoyed Giannis as a player, but I was never the biggest guy saying, Giannis is the best in the world. I always knew he was about up there in like the top 5, top 3. But I would always be quick to say I would take Steph or KD or LeBron before him. But I think the NBA Finals, Giannis really turned a lot of people to his side, and then he's just backing it up. I think it's fair to say Giannis right now is the best player in the world without a shadow of a doubt. But that's what I was doing, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. There was part of me that didn't really want to do this edition of the podcast, right? Because I've been I know the last couple of months I haven't been as consistent with reviews and all that, but when it comes to WrestleMania, there was no way I was not going to cover it, no matter what. But still, I have been honest, and I'm not that excited for WrestleMania. Like I said, there are things on the card I am excited about. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, like I'm not excited for anything. But for the majority of the stuff on this card, I am not excited about it at all. The card that I put together like a mock card for WrestleMania back in like January or February. And I wish I could find that card, because if I could, I would read it to you guys. I remember part of it, but you know, uh I'm not that super excited for this card because if we look like after SummerSlam or after Survivor Series or even back with the day one pay-per-view, right? The potential for some of these matches on this card, it could have been set up to be one of the greatest WrestleMania cards of all time. But the card that we've gotten is really disappointing. And then just think about it. Some of the titles that are not even going to be defended on the show. The IC title, one of the most prestigious titles, arguably the most prestigious title in WWE outside the WWE Championship, that will not be defended on WrestleMania. It's going to be defended on SmackDown tomorrow night, right? The United States Championship isn't even going to get defended at all this weekend. Finn Balor and Damian Priest are going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which is going to be on SmackDown. Like, what? You're not gonna have Finn Balor of all people on WrestleMania and not have him defend the U.S. Championship? That would have been the perfect place to bring back the Demon. Like these are the problems I have with WWE. You know, one of the big things, I know there's a lot of people that don't like the whole 2-night WrestleMania format, but to me, I like it. I like having 2 nights of WrestleMania because no matter what, and somebody did bring this up to me earlier today. They told me that, you know, because one of the big criticisms of having one night of WrestleMania these days is that the show ends up being ridiculously long. It ends up being an 8-hour show, right? But somebody told me today, one of the problems is you have almost 2 title matches, you know, for every single division. You have the WWE title, you have the Universal title, even though this year, right, they're doing the title versus title match on night 2. But you know, most years you have like a universal title match, a world title match, right? Yeah, you have a universal title match, you have a WWE championship match, you have a Raw women's title, SmackDown women's title, you have the IC title, you have the US title. That's 6 titles right there. Then you got your 2 tag titles, right? That's 7 and 8, and then you have all your other singles matches. You know, if WWE went back to doing, you know, 1 tag title match and doing uh one women's title match, you know, then that would probably shave some time off the card, but still the card and the show would end up being ridiculously long. And you look at WWE's roster, even with everybody that they've lost, right? With all the superstars that they have released and all those superstars that are in different promotion now, no matter if it's AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, whatever, right? They still have an insane amount of talent. It's ridiculous how much talent WWE has even after they release half their superstars, right? With all that talent, you know, the majority of that talent deserve to be on the WrestleMania card. So, you know, that's where the 2 nights of WrestleMania should be perfect so that you could stretch it out over a certain amount of time and that they can have all of these superstars have matches and storylines and be able to be on the showcase of immortals. Because WrestleMania should be a showcase of the best wrestlers in the world, which WWE has. Right. But for the most part, half of them don't get used. And then you look at this card, it's actually ridiculous how many superstars aren't on this card that are counted for WWE. It's insane to me. It's insane. The fact that you have guys like Logan Paul and Johnny Knoxville that are gonna have matches on this card, and you don't have somebody like fucking Finn Balor on here. It pisses me off because I love the idea of having 2 nights of WrestleMania. Because honestly, after last year, I thought they were gonna go back to this in 1 night. You know, because remember, after WrestleMania last year, originally the plan was for them to go back to doing 1 night of Mania, right? But you know, Vince and others were talked into doing 2 nights, and here we are. It's probably going to end up making WWE more money in the long run anyway, having a second night. There's a whole second night of concessions and merch and all this other stuff that you can sell, right? So, yeah, so I think having 2 nights of WrestleMania is a great idea, but WWE has gone about it in a terrible format where they've put more focus on bringing all these stars who have nothing to do with the company and then ignoring and regulating a bunch more talent that deserves to be on the WrestleMania card to fucking catering. And that is not right, in my opinion. That is not right. And I hate the way WWE has gone about that, and it's terrible. It's terrible. There's no way. You're not. There's no universe where you can convince me that the IC title and the US title should not be defended at WrestleMania, especially the IC title with the prestigious history that title alone has at WrestleMania. And I talked about this for a lot of you guys who saw my Raw review. I've talked about a lot of this already. I'm just repeating it because this is the WrestleMania preview show. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but WWE, like, it just pisses me off. And I don't want to sit here and rant and bitch and moan, right? And I know because I haven't been as consistent with the reviews, but those of you guys who know me and have listened to this podcast for months and years know how I feel about this card. And this card could have been so much better. The card itself is not as good as it should be, and they've gone about this 2 days of WrestleMania in the wrong way. At the end of the day, it's still going to be WrestleMania. It's going to be the first real WrestleMania in 3 years, right? Because 2 years ago, we had COVID where they did WrestleMania inside the Performance Center, right? And shout out and credit to the WWE superstars who made that WrestleMania possible. I know it's not talked about because it was in COVID, but there still were some pretty good moments from that show, even though it was in an empty Performance Center. Last year, they did have WrestleMania in Tampa, but it was limited capacity. I was there for that show, and it was a great experience. It was awesome, but still, it wasn't a full WrestleMania. I think the limit was around 18,000 people, if I remember correctly. So then this series is going to be back to normal. It was like, I believe, 70,000 or 70, 80,000. I forget let me look up what the capacity right now is for our stadium. Yeah, it can hold up to 80,000. I don't know where the capacity is right now. I know WrestleMania was struggling to sell tickets, right? And that's probably because of the weak card, but still, and I'm looking right now. I don't have any I don't have the I don't have the capacity right now or anything. I don't have the number. I mean, I don't have the expected attendance. Yeah, we'll see what it is. Remember, it's 2 different nights. So you're gonna have 2 different nights of attendance. There's gonna be many people that are there for both nights, of course, because you have the combo tickets. But still, when you look at the WrestleMania card, and it's disappointing if you ask me. I'm just gonna be honest, and I think that is kind of how you can explain how WrestleMania is struggling to sell tickets. I don't think they're struggling to sell tickets because it's 2 nights. I think they're struggling to sell tickets because there's a lot of people that are unhappy with how the card looks. Look, yes, it's gonna look like WrestleMania because you're gonna have the big stage, you're gonna have the pyro and everything. I'm willing to bet people are lit right now down there in Dallas. They're doing events. WrestleMania Access is back, right? You got the Superstore and everything. But at the end of the day, it's not going to 100% feel like WrestleMania, because of the card, and that's just my honest thoughts. I know there's going to be some people that disagree with me. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, no, they're excited for WrestleMania, and that's their opinion. But to be honest, this card should be, could have been 1,000 times better if you ask me. And that's what I care more about, because I'm not there for WrestleMania this year. I was hoping to but when I saw how the card was looking out, I was like, I'm not gonna, spend a bunch of money on a hotel room and flights to Dallas and tickets and all that, for a card that I'm not excited about. If I was, if I was excited for the card, I would be down there in Dallas for WrestleMania this year. But I'm not because I'm not excited. I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna watch the show from here, and I'm gonna review it. If it ends up being a good WrestleMania, I will tell you guys, and you guys will get to see that on the review. But you know, I'm not expecting that. But still, we'll see how the weekend goes. We'll see how WrestleMania goes. Next year, I'll say this right now. Next year, I hope to be there for Mania in Cali. But if the card's not good, why am I gonna waste my time going down there? Why would I waste my time going to Cali if the card is garbage? I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's a great card and it's an exciting moment for all of us. But if the card's not good, I'm not gonna waste time, getting all those funds together and going down there. That's just the way I look at it. But still, even though I'm disappointed with the WrestleMania card, I'm still gonna try to be fair about and give WrestleMania a fair chance. That's my honest viewing on it. But still, I'm looking at Twitter right now. Right now it looks like the way WrestleMania is being set up. Right, they're saying that right now. They're saying attendance right now is a little over 60,000, which is not bad at all. But for WrestleMania, it's supposed to sell out. WrestleMania is supposed to be the biggest wrestling show of the year, right? So it's them 60,000 and out of 80,000. So it's gonna look like a big stadium, of course. So they're about 3/4 there, right? But that's a little disappointing. But anyway, we're gonna go through the card. I'm gonna look at. I want. I'm intrigued. Before we go through the card, because honestly, there's a lot of matches on this show. I think we're gonna go through the card really quick, just because I'm not that excited about this card. So I'm not gonna sit here and then talk about every single match. If I was excited for this card, if it was a good card on paper, yes, we could spend a couple of hours, just talking about WrestleMania, every single match and storyline. But for the most part, you know, the card is sucks in my opinion. If I'm being 100% honest. But anyway, let me. I'm gonna go on WrestleMania right now, or I'm gonna go to Ticketmaster just cause. Like, let's just say, hey, I decided to book a flight to Dallas tomorrow. This 3 hours. It would be hard, but it's not impossible. Let's see. How much would a WrestleMania ticket cost? So we still got Russell. So I'm looking. I take a match right now. I don't know how you guys can see that, but so you can still. There's a lot of blue. The blue is the open seats, right? So for the most part, like front row seating, there's not much left, but you could still get some ringside seats. Let's see. And a ticket just to get into the stadium for like section 402, which is high nosebleeds at the highest stadium. Remember, they have in Dallas they have that big ass video board. So when you have that big ass video board in Dallas, you can kind of watch the show, no matter what. So at least even if you're singing the nosebleeds, you have the video board, so you'll be able to watch and see what's going on, even though you may not have the best view looking down at the small ring. But just to get in, right? You can get in for $30. And you probably put with fees, and it's loading right now. But I'm willing to bet with fees, you can probably get in for you see, with fees, you can get it for $35. I'm willing to bet if the WrestleMania was a sellout this year, right, you would be paying probably more, if I'm being honest, upwards to probably $80, $90 for a seat in section 402. For a nosebleed seat, if WrestleMania was a sellout, you would probably be paying close to $100 just to get in. $34 to get into WrestleMania. That is crazy. That is insane. Like, wow. If that doesn't tell you how disappointing the WrestleMania card is, I don't know what to tell you. No, I gotta keep fixing this. This is bothering me. Anyway, but yeah, let's keep the show. Let's keep looking, right? Let's keep looking. Yeah. So that's so $34 basically just to get into Mania. Let's look. Of course, remember Dallas is a huge stadium. So for a normal seat, like kind of higher up, right? That's gonna cost you about 176. As you get more down, the prices, these are reasonable prices. Like I'm like I don't know if you guys can see where I'm looking at right now. I'm gonna try to show you. So look at this seat right here. You guys see the black, like right there. See that black mark, right? That's like a normal WrestleMania seat. So you have a good view, right? You're kind of you're reasonable away from the ring, you know. So you're about club level seating. So you have your floor seating, then you have the seats above that, and then you have the seats above that, where a lot of people get their WrestleMania seats. You can get that seat right now for about $285. If WrestleMania was a sellout this year, that seat would probably cost you at least 500, 600. So if this was like WrestleMania 31 last time they were in Dallas, you're probably paying about 500, half a grand for that seat. You get a solid seat for WrestleMania right now, 285. I'm looking at Ticketmaster. I'm gonna look at SeatGeek and StubHub after this, just because I'm bored. Well, and well, no, King. WrestleMania tickets are not expensive. Not this year. You missed it. You can get into WrestleMania for $35 this year. I wouldn't be surprised. Like if you've ever been to a WrestleMania, there's always guys selling, like stuff outside of the arena. So as you're walking to the arena, they always have local vendors, right? So I wouldn't be surprised there's people that will be selling WrestleMania tickets as you walk to Dallas. So the expensive seats come once you get closer to the ring, which makes sense. Once you get closer to the ring, because like you want to get close up, get the best seats. That's when stuff gets expensive. So like a riser seat. So this is like so if you look at that black area right there in the middle of my screen, that's right behind the floor seats. So the floor seats, of course, that's right next to the ring, and then you have those seats above. So like that first section above, the floor seats, right? That's around $800, which makes sense. If WrestleMania was a sellout this year, you're probably paying, a little over 1,000. So these things are a little bit more fairly priced. Then once, of course, you get into holy shit. Wow. That's shocking. So section floor A row. So I'm looking at the floor seats right now. We're getting like right near the ring, right? So floor A row 10, $884. That is actually a steal for a floor seat at WrestleMania. At this point, like 2 days before the event. That's crazy. I'm telling you right now, a floor seat, if WrestleMania is a sellout, a floor seat can probably is around $2,000. A floor seat at this price, look at it. I'm looking at it right now. And I know you guys can't really see. I'm not gonna fix my camera to do that because that would take forever. But Section Floor A, Row 10 is $880, and then Section Floor A, Row 5 is $2,000. So there's nearly a whole $1,400 difference between Row 5 and Row 10. This is insane, but remember, this is WrestleMania's 3 days away. But some of the prices for some of these tickets are kind of reasonable. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. Kind of reasonable. It's not awful. Mm. If only the WrestleMania card was good. That's what I'm gonna say. If only the WrestleMania card was good this year, then I would be there. But it is what it is. Well, let's go to SeatGeek and StubHub, and then we'll start talking about the card. But remember, yeah, when you go to WrestleMania, the thing is, you're there most of the day. You're there almost all day. Remember, that's 80,000 people in that arena. It's insane. You know, so you got probably long lines for consent. Like the doors open for Mania 3, 4 o'clock. Because you have your pre-show that starts at 6, which is 2 hours long, and then you have the main card, which won't end until nearly 12. I don't know how they're gonna do it this year since it's 2 nights, right? I remember when I went last year. Remember it was only 18,000 people, so it was nowhere near as many because, of course, COVID and all that. But when I went, the lines were not as long. The lines weren't long at honestly, the lines were long at all. It was really the longest line was just to get concessions, which is fair, you know. But imagine for an $80,000 arena or 80,000 person arena, those lines you can be in line for upwards to an hour. If we're being honest with ourselves here. So look, it might be a little bit easier just because WrestleMania is not a sellout, but we'll see. So yeah, so let me look. So I'm looking at WrestleMania right now on StubHub, right? So do you for a 2 day pass? So for a nosebleed seat, $120. But remember, it's gonna be a little more pricey just because it's a 2 day pass. That's for both nights, not just one. But yeah, $120 for a nosebleed seat, which isn't terrible, right? I'm looking at StubHub now. Uh yeah, these prices aren't honestly not bad. For something like this, the Club Hall of Fame. I've never been to Dallas Stadium, so see where the black mark is on my screen. It's not terrible at all. $412 for both nights. For a riser seat, right? So similar, $990 for both nights. Which honestly is not bad for being that close to the ring. You're getting a straight, basically you're getting a straight view. Almost a camera. You're basically getting a camera shot. I don't know where the camera set up, but yeah, you're almost on camera. So that is not bad. It's once you get to the floor seats that are ridiculous. So row 1, right next to the ring. Yeah, row 1. So basically ringside, right? That's $8,000, which of course they're always overpriced. But that's the way it is. But yeah, that's that. Let me look at SeatGeek and then we'll start talking about the actual card itself. Yeah, but I'm like I said, I know I'm doing this live. I could easily do this in my spare time, but I'm just explaining to you guys, if people were truly hyped, excuse me, if people were truly hyped for WrestleMania this year, those tickets would be out of this world. But then there's still with 2 days, yeah, we're 2 days from WrestleMania. We're less than 48 hours away from the show. If I decided, hey, I'm going to WrestleMania tomorrow, right? I would get on a plane, book a flight, right? Get a hotel room. I could actually probably make it to WrestleMania with on a decent budget. On a decent, so let me look. So I'm on WrestleMania, which is of course, uh SeatGeek is like the official. Because SeatGeek's the official sellers of WrestleMania. It's usually Ticketmaster, but this year it's SeatGeek. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. Uh, for the weird thing is, for WrestleMania on SeatGeek, they don't have it on they don't have it the 2 day ticket. I don't see it here. They have night one and they have night two, but I don't see anything for you know, a 2 day pass, which is kind of weird, right? But if I can't find it, that's whatever. I'll just do it later. But I thought I found it. Nope. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't find it. Cause I'm looking. You can still get tickets for SmackDown in the Hall of Fame. You can still get a Monday Night Raw 2 for 1 SmackDown plus Hall of Fame combo ticket, right? And they got NXT, which will be in the American Airlines Center, which is interesting. Uh, so that's like NXT 2.0. So that should be interesting. They have the WrestleMania, but they have the WrestleMania night one and night two, but they don't have a 2 day combo pass, which is kind of which doesn't make sense to me because if SeatGeek is the official provider for WrestleMania tickets, why can't I find the 2 day pass on here? I can find on Ticketmaster and StubHub. I don't know, but I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. I think I made my point, but but we'll see, King. I don't know if WrestleMania next year is going to be a sellout. If it's not a sellout this year, because remember, it was a sell. Remember, you guys got to remember, it was WrestleMania was just in Dallas 6 years, no, 7 years ago, 2016, or yeah, 6 years ago. Right, my bad. No, WrestleMania 32. That's yeah. WrestleMania 32 was just 6 years ago. I know time goes by fast, time flies, but yeah, WrestleMania was just in Dallas 2 years ago. You know, so and remember that was nearly a sellout. I think if I'm right, I think they almost broke the attendance record that year. So remember, if they were able to fill that stadium up 6 years ago, why wouldn't it be full up now? I don't think COVID is a factor. I'm telling you right now, there will not be. I would be surprised if there's 5% of people in that stadium wearing a mask. There's going to be people there wearing a mask just because they want to be safe. But I'm telling you right now, especially in Dallas, a place like that, I don't even think Dallas has a vaccine mandate. So I don't think there's gonna be people there wearing masks at all. So I don't want to hear, oh no, COVID's a factor, because I don't think it's a factor at all. Or it's a very low, it's a very small factor. I think because people are not as hyped. King says fans will not get enough sleep for WrestleMania night two. Well, no, I don't think that's true. Because when I went to Mania last year, I was fine. I was fine. I went to the, I it was easier last year. There was traffic, but it was a little bit easier just because um just because there was less people. It was 18,000 people. If it was a regular Mania, yes, it probably I would have to left earlier. I remember leaving and heading to the arena around 5:36, and the show didn't start till 8. So I like it. It was actually pretty, and I did that for both nights of Mania. So it wasn't much of a problem for me. It's pretty easy. Um, I would say, but yeah, and then like we the show ended after Sasha lost to Bianca around like 11:30, right? And then I got back to the hotel room like an hour later. It wasn't even that bad, and then I remember I recorded the review, and then I went to sleep, and then yeah. So no, I think fans would be fine. If you go out and party and drink after Mania, then then you might not be able to get enough sleep. But if you're if you're smart about it, you would probably go back to your hotel room after the show, and then try to get sleep, and then get ready for night two. That's what I would do. But everyone's different. Anyway, let's talk about the card. So, like I said, I'm gonna try to do this quick because I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't want to be here, all night. Plus I got work in the morning anyway. So the only good thing is I'm not gonna fall asleep on camera. I got my energy tonight. But let's talk about the WrestleMania card. And I think, like I said, if I was excited about all these matches, I would probably sit here and for like 2 hours talking about it. But I'm not excited for this card. But the start time will be 8 p.m. Right, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So night one. So I'm willing to bet both nights are probably going to be about 4 hours. So definitely, if the show starts around 8, it's probably going to end around 12. Probably both nights are probably going to be around 3.5, 4 hours. There are a lot of matches on each night. And if WWE is planning on giving most of these matches, a fair amount of time, right? Plus, you got to think about entrances. You got to think about, other segments like when they do the Hall of Fame ceremony, and they could do a whole segment on The Undertaker, because we know The Undertaker's going to the Hall of Fame tomorrow night, and I'm excited for that. That's the thing I'm most excited about. I'm not really excited for anything on the Go Home SmackDown. I'm excited about seeing The Undertaker get inducted in the Hall of Fame and hear what speech he gives. They could do a whole segment with The Undertaker because how big WrestleMania was, The Undertaker's legacy. There's so many other things. They can do the legend segment, right? Who knows what they have planned? So I'm thinking both nights of Mania are probably going to be 3.5, 4 hours long, and it is what it is. So 8 p.m. Eastern show's probably gonna end around noon. I mean not noon, midnight, right? Then I'm gonna hop on here, do like a 2 hour review probably, right? For each night. And then we'll go from there. But show's gonna start at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, right? And get on peak. So I'm looking at it right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 confirmed segments for night one. There's 7 matches. 8 if you want to call Stone Cold Steve Austin and KO a match. Or I'm gonna call it a match for right now. It's probably gonna end up being a brawl, but you got like 8 main segments, 7 matches, right? So 8, and then on night two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So night two shorter. There's only 7 matches, which means unless they add a match on here, those night two will probably have longer matches because it's a little bit shorter of a card. But having 8 matches on each night, that's fine. That's fine. My problem is the way these matches have been booked. Um, but we're gonna go through night one just because. So let's do it. So Remember, yeah. So night one. So you have Charlotte Flair and Ronda, Becky and Bianca, Seth Rollins versus a mystery opponent, Ryan Dominic versus Miz and Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin, Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, King Woods and Kofi Kingston versus Rich Holland and Sheamus, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Stone Cold Steve Austin on the KO show with Kevin Owens. So the match on here that's most likely, I'm not gonna predict the match order. I'll probably just predict right, what show will or what match will open. So I think it's most likely that uh I think it's most likely that Becky and Bianca open up night one. Yeah, that's why I would say, you have both women's titles being defended on night one, which still doesn't make sense to me, but I'm fine with that. You know why? Because WWE wanted to, the wanted to do Sasha Banks dirty because we all know that Sasha Banks should have been the one in the SmackDown Women's Championship. It should be Sasha Banks and Charlotte main eventing night one. Doesn't matter now. I can't do anything about it. No matter how much I bitch and moan, what's done is done. But Sasha Banks and Charlotte, in my opinion, should have main event in night one, right? And then Becky and Bianca should have been done on night two. That's the way I would have done it. But WWE wants to put both of their they want to put both Becky and Charlotte because those are the golden women, right? They're the ones that always get pushed and everything. Every single year, it's always them. Every single year, they get the big women's title matches while Sasha gets done dirty. Only time Sasha can get a big name WrestleMania match is when Becky's pregnant and Charlotte's out getting breast surgery. That's it. And when that happens, of course, Sasha, gives you the best women's match in WrestleMania history. But you know, whatever. No one wants to talk about that, right? But anyway, so yeah, so you're gonna get both the Raw Women's Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship main eventing, or not main eventing. They will both be on the card. So it makes the most sense to do one early in the night and one later in the night. And it's crazy. There's only three matches. There's only three women's matches on both nights, which I kind of ridiculous. All that talk you make about the women's revolution and all that, right? And you only have three matches for the woman on a 2-night show. At least, in my opinion, it should be 4 to 5, right? If we're doing this correctly, there should be for a 2-night mania, you should do 4 to 5 matches for the woman. But you only want to do three. Yeah, but yeah, you want to try to make people believe that there's some kind of, woman's revolution and they're on the love of the men. Like, fuck out of here with that bullshit. Stop trying to make me agree. Stop trying to make me uh agree on something that's not true. I see Big on. What kind of question is that? Come on, you're smarter than that. Kurt Angle, he's not even with the company right now. Shawn Michaels, you saw him wrestle with Triple H against The Undertaker and Kane a couple years ago, right? He's not the same guy. Yes, maybe if it was Shawn Michaels and AJ Styles, but we're getting AJ Styles and Edge. So, like, there's really that's the only match you could do with Shawn Michaels that would probably pop me. Because I love Shawn Michaels. He's one of my favorites of all time. But really? Shawn Michaels? Come on, man. He's not the same wrestler. I would only care about Shawn Michaels being on WrestleMania if he was going up against AJ Styles. Shawn Michaels' time is done. Kurt Angle's not even with the company right now. So like, I don't know what you're saying there, man. I've gotten the habit of having to fix this thing like so many times during reviews now. It's annoying. Anyway, all right, let's go. Anyway, back. So yeah, and Trish Stratus versus Sasha Banks. Yes. Other than that, there's no reason to have Trish Stratus there. If she's not there to face Sasha Banks, then what the hell are we doing? Honestly, I think I would have much rather have Sasha Banks and Trish Stratus happen than what they're doing with Sasha right now. Easily. This would have been the year because if you weren't gonna do Sasha and Charlotte like you should have done, right? I would have been fine with you doing Sasha and Trish 1-on-1. I would have been happy, but you know, uh let me say this. Shut up. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So let's get so like I said, you should have one women's title match early in the show and one women's title match later in the show. In a perfect world, you would do one on night one and do one on night two. That would be the most logical thing. I honestly, like I said, the way this card was booked doesn't make any sense to me. And then also, you look at doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why the hell do you have two women's title matches on the same night for a 2-night event? I was joking with my friends because Sasha is going to showcase and then Sasha's going to, steal the show for the women on night two. But still, in a logical world, you just have one women's title match on night one and one women's title match on night two, like last year. You had Sasha and Bianca night one, and then you had Oscar and Rhea Ripley night two. I don't get that. But anyway, so I think Becky and Bianca are most likely going to be opening the show, or at least that match is going to take place very early in the show. I think that opening the show is a good enough opener. As you see, my green screen acting up, but I think that would be a great opener, especially after the segment they did last week on Raw. That was the first time I had really any care in the Becky and Bianca feud since SummerSlam. Because we all know they did Bianca dirty at SummerSlam, and I have not cared about this feud at all. No matter what Becky says, Becky can come up with all the bullshit she wants, saying how she wanted to elevate Becky or Bianca. She never did. She hasn't once elevated her. In the whole 8 months that she's been heel now, she's not once elevated Bianca Belair. Last week, what they did with the whole Bianca cutting Becky's hair off, right? That was the first time they had actually gotten me to care about this feud. This is something that you should have done months ago, you know, and it helped make the go home show a better show to me. But that angle with Becky and Bianca and the cutting the hair, that's something that they should have done months ago for this feud. And it was the first time that I actually really cared about Becky as a heel and the Becky Bianca feud in general, which is disappointing because Becky is one of their biggest stars and Bianca is also one of their biggest stars as well. And they have failed to make this an interesting feud. Failed. And they've had a full build over the last 8 months. And that was the first time I actually gave a shit about this feud. The only thing I did see that, I had to give Becky credit just because to get your hair cut off on national TV like that, it takes a lot. It takes a lot, and I would be intrigued to see how that segment came together. Like if Becky told Bianca, "Oh, cut this amount of hair," because Becky posted a photo. She got her hair done after the haircut, and it looks good. I'll give Becky credit. Her hair looks good. She'll probably fuck it up with some stupid ass style this week, right? 'Cause, whenever it comes to WrestleMania, Becky wants to come out with some dumbass style. And I get on Becky all the time for the way she dresses. And look, I hope she doesn't come out Saturday with some wacky hairstyle. Like we don't need that. We honestly don't need that. Just come out as Becky Lynch. Just like we don't need you. Like no, enough of that crap. But uh, with Becky, um, her hair looked nice. I gotta give her credit. and to do that segment, that takes a lot. But it also kind of worries me that this is kind of supposed to be Bianca getting her payback finally for SummerSlam 8 months later, right? On the grandest stage. But now that you had Becky get her haircut, it the way it just gives me a bad feeling. Because before last Monday, I was like 90% sure that Bianca was gonna win. Now it's more like 60-40. Like I'm still confident that Bianca will get her payback, but the thing about it is Bianca already kind of did get some payback by cutting Becky's hair, you know? So I'm just thinking, like, that might come back to bite Bianca in some way on Saturday. Like, oh yeah, you cut Becky's hair, now you're gonna lose. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but it is something I am keeping in mind going into Saturday. And if Becky wins, I'm just gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh. I'm not gonna get pissed off about it. I'm just gonna laugh. Bianca should win. My prediction right now is Bianca wins, but I would not be surprised at all if Becky ends up retaining on Saturday. But right now, my prediction is Becky will lose. Bianca will walk out the new Raw Women's Champion. Yeah. And you guys in the chat can talk about, if Bianca wins again, I'm going to be very pissed. Hey, guys, nothing could be as bad as Bianca and what they did at SummerSlam. Just that will help make you feel better. They can't do anything worse to Bianca than what they did at SummerSlam. Unless they had the only thing that they could do worse than what they did to Bianca at SummerSlam is if they had Bianca lose in less than 26 seconds. That's it. And I don't think they're going to do that. If they had Bianca lose in less than 26 seconds, then it would be worse than WrestleMania. But there's nothing else. You can't go lower than what they did at SummerSlam unless Bianca was to lose in less than 26 seconds, which I doubt. There's a 0.1% chance of that happening. Okay. But yeah, that's what I think. And Rugby says Bianca has taken Sasha's spot in the women's division. She has that's a stupid comment. Come on. So nobody's taking Sasha's spot. Stop it. No, that's no. If it wasn't for Ronda Rousey coming back, Sasha would be winning at the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. That's the only reason why Sasha's not in that match. In my opinion, if you weren't, you should have made it a triple threat match. The second you knew Ronda was going to come back and you weren't going to do Sasha and Trish, you should have made the SmackDown Women's Championship a triple threat match. But that's my opinion. But Rugby, I completely disagree with you. Bianca's not taking Sasha's spot. Bianca has her own spot. Like, Sasha's the best female wrestler in the world, and everybody else is after that. They can do whatever they want. They can give Becky and Charlotte all the big matches and all of the title reigns they want. And it's bad booking, if you ask me. But everyone knows, or if you're a smart wrestling fan, you know Sasha's the best female wrestler in the world. Everybody else is second and below. So don't come up here with that nonsense saying Rugby is taking Sasha's spot. No, stop it. Especially when Sasha and Bianca are on opposite brands. Come on, you're smart. Be smarter. Anyway, yeah. So I'm predicting Bianca will win at WrestleMania. And so moving on. So some of these matches we're gonna be able to fly by very easily because why not? So we have the New Day versus Rich Holland and Sheamus. This was originally going to be a 6-man tag with the Butch or with Pete Dunne. I know I'm saying his name wrong. I'm just gonna call him Pete Dunne. I'm not gonna call him by his WWE slave name. No, his name is absolutely awful. Like the look and appearance of Pete Dunne on SmackDown is fine because he looks actually pretty menacing and pretty good alongside Rich Holland and Sheamus. And I think they could end up being a pretty good faction if WWE puts the care into them that they should. But at the end of the day, Pete Dunne's name change is absolutely horrific. right? But this was supposed to be a 6-man tag, but we know what happened to Big E, right? Big E get well soon. Right? I know he's recovering from that neck injury right now, and hopefully he can get back when he's fully healed. But Rich Holland and Sheamus versus the New Day. Honestly, this is a take your pick. It doesn't really matter to me. This match does not mean anything. If I was booking the show, this would probably be a pre-show match. To be honest with you, like I do not have really any care for this match. So I'm gonna go to New Day just because. Like, why not? You know, why not? But I wouldn't be surprised if Rich Holland and Sheamus win. But I don't care. Don't care. Moving on. New Day should win. Anyway, we have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. The Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, right? Some people believe they should do a unification match with the tag titles with RK Bro and the Usos. We've seen the Usos versus RK Bro a couple times already, but they have fantastic chemistry. And I think if WWE wanted to do a program between RK Bro and the Usos, it would be great. But that's not the case right now. We still have two different sets of tag team title belts. Look, I think it would be kind of cool to see Nakamura and Rick Boogs get the win here, especially since I don't think Nakamura has ever gotten that big WrestleMania moment that he deserves. Remember he lost to AJ Styles at WrestleMania that year. And even though they put on a good match, they didn't give us the all-time classic that we thought they were going to give us. But I don't think Nakamura's ever had a WrestleMania moment. It would be cool. Nakamura and Rick Boogs are a pretty great pairing together, and Nakamura has had somewhat of a career resurgence here, right? But I just don't think Nakamura and Boogs are going to win. It's the Usos. They're part of the bloodline. As long as Roman's champion, the Usos are probably holding on to those titles. And especially, the visual of Roman holding both the WWE and the Universal title while the Usos hold the SmackDown tag team titles, right? That's going to be something. I think WWE's waiting, or I would not be surprised if WWE doesn't already have merch already set for after WrestleMania with the Usos and Roman and his new title. It would be crazy if they merged the titles and then you had Roman coming out with the Universal and the WWE Championship, with the Usos walking out with both tag team title belts. That would be something, but I don't think that he's going down that route right now. And I expect the Usos to win. I think this could be low-key be a show stealer because Nakamura, we know how great he is in the ring, and the Usos are one of, if not the best tag team in the world. So I think this could be a show stealer, but I do expect the Usos to win. If Nakamura and Rick Boogs ended up winning, I would be very, very happy, especially for Nakamura, because he if anybody deserves a WrestleMania moment, it's him, right? Him and Sasha Banks are two of the first people that come to my mind. So does Big E, so does Asuka. Those are people that haven't had WrestleMania moments, and that's mind-boggling to me. So seeing Nakamura win the SmackDown Tag Team titles on WrestleMania would be great to see, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Usos are going to retain. I see somebody in the chat try to say the Usos are losing and Roman's losing. Yeah, right. King says, imagine Naomi joining them. That would be something, but yeah, that's not happening. Moving on, we have Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. I don't care about this match at all. Drew McIntyre deserves a lot better than this, right? I think we're all still waiting for Drew to get that big WrestleMania moment. On my mock card, I originally had Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. That was originally what I was thinking that they should have done. That was before day one. This is like, yeah, before day one, before the Royal Rumble, and they went the Brock and Roman direction, right? I originally had Drew and Roman. If you guys remember, Drew and Roman put on a banger at way back. This is like the early stages of Roman's Universal title run. At Survivor Series about a year and a half ago inside the Thunderdome, they put on one of the best matches of the year for WWE. You know, and I think we've been waiting to get another Drew and Roman feud, but they've kept Drew away from Roman since they've been on since they did the draft. Yeah, and I originally thought the plan was to do Drew and Roman at Mania. Remember, there was talks about them doing Drew and Roman at the Rumble, but then day one changed everything. Roman getting COVID and Brock and everything, it changed everything so much that here we are. So Drew's kind of got the short end of the stick because they decided to go with Roman and Brock, right? And I think after WrestleMania, after Roman walks out double champion, I think either my prediction right now, I think for WrestleMania Backlash, which I'm right now I'm planning on being on at that show, right? For WrestleMania Backlash, I think they're gonna do Roman, Brock, or not Brock. I think they're gonna do Roman, lastly, Drew McIntyre triple threat match for both titles. I think that's what they're gonna do at WrestleMania Backlash. That's what I would do. Roman's gonna need a big opponent coming out of WrestleMania, and if it's not Cody Rhodes, I would do Lashley and Drew. Drew deserves to be in the titles. He's been out of the title scene for a while. I know last year after Drew lost the WWE title to I think it was Bobby Lashley. Oh, was it Lashley? Who did Drew drop? No, Drew dropped the title to the Miz. My bad. After Drew dropped the title to the Miz, Drew had a bunch of title shots after that, right? I think his last title match was against Lashley in the Hell in a Cell match. So he's been out of the title scene for a while, and I said that. I said that he needed to take a break from the title scene, right? I think it's time now. After Mania, we gotta get Drew back in there because he is one of the top baby faces in the company, and I'm unhappy with what he's been given for WrestleMania. I like Drew. He should not be, wasted in the match against Happy Corbin. This feud's been going on now all year because they have nobody else in SmackDown for Drew to face. That's insane to me. We gotta get Drew back into the title picture after Mania. He deserves better. You know, so Drew versus Happy Corbin. Sucks that Drew got the short end of the stick here. But I expect Drew to claymore Corbin's ass at Mania. I think Corbin has a very, very, very small chance to win this match. I think McIntyre is going to win at Mania pretty easily. Next up, we have Dominic, Mysterio versus The Miz and Logan Paul. This is one of the matches that pisses me off because I don't think Logan Paul should be on the WrestleMania card, right? I'm fine with you doing like one celebrity match. I think two is an overkill, especially like I'm going to keep harping on it because I don't care. When you have like no Finn Balor and a bunch of other talent that's deserved to be on WrestleMania, not on the card, this pisses me off. When you have multiple celebrity matches with WWE's roster, and you have those matches take away from stars actually on the main roster, right, that deserve to be on this card, it pisses me off. You know, but then it could be a fun little match. We all remember last year, Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny arguably had the greatest celebrity match in WrestleMania history. Like Bad Bunny absolutely killed it, like it or not. You can't really sit here and deny it. So yeah, he had a fantastic uh celebrity match. I've been hearing some things about Logan Paul, and of course, he is a boxer. I think Logan Paul definitely might have some moves up his sleeve. I'm not that excited for it, but we'll see. We'll see. But I'm not that excited for this match, but it could be, a fun one. It could be a fun one. I'm still. I'm. My problem is them having. My problem is not with Logan Paul. My problem is with WWE booking multiple celebrity matches because you know what WWE's trying to do here. They're trying to get on TikTok and YouTube and then all these other platforms. Right? Look, we had boxer, celebrity, social media influencer Logan Paul wrestler at WrestleMania. I know this is a big deal for Logan Paul, right? Getting the wrestle in front of 60, 80,000 people. But still, it's just like, come on. And so this match has a chance to be fun. I think Logan might do a couple cool things. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to compare him to Bad Bunny, but we'll see what he does. He is much bigger than Bad Bunny, and he is pretty strong. So we'll see. But I'm picking Logan Paul and The Miz to win this match. The Mysterios, if they win, it's whatever. But this could be a longer term story here with Logan. I don't know what his contract is. I don't know if it's just for this match. I know he has other boxing things, but I would not be surprised if we see Logan wrestle multiple times per year. I could see WWE doing a match here with Logan Paul and then them bringing him back for something at SummerSlam. So I think I'm going to go with Logan Paul and The Miz to win this match. So that's my prediction there. Just got to remember, it's WrestleMania. WrestleMania is usually a babyface strong show. It is a show where a lot of babyfaces win, but you gotta give the heels some wins here and there. So but yeah, that's my prediction here. Miz and Logan Paul. Seth Rollins versus mystery opponent, right? This is interesting because there was a report earlier that came out like yesterday that WWE is having Shane McMahon at Mania. I don't think he's gonna be working no backstage producer role like he was last year. With the Rumble, but there is some people that are worried that WWE could be doing Seth versus Shane McMahon, right? And I was pretty damn confident it was going to be Cody Rhodes at Mania, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. There is a little. I mean, I'm a little concerned that they might potentially do that they might potentially change things up and do Shane. I think it's unlikely. I would say right now, I would say 75-25% chance it's Cody Rhodes. Right? We know Cody signed. That's confirmed. It's just that will he appear on WrestleMania? Because who knows? If they do change things and Shane ends up facing Seth, that's gonna anger a lot of people, right? But then Cody might appear on the night after Mania. At the end of the day, we don't know. We don't know. We won't know till Saturday, right? I'm willing to bet they're probably gonna, if it is indeed Cody like we expect, they're gonna do what they did with the Hardy Boys, seek them in with the black limo with the tinted windows, and we probably won't see him. Bruh. A little side note here. As we're live streaming this, it is April 1st, so it is April Fools. So I opened up Instagram for a sec because I got a text. First thing I see is Tom Brady has formally requested a trade to the Dolphins. And all I did was look at my calendar. I was like, it's past midnight. It's April Fools. I hate April Fools because all day on social media, all you're going to see is the most ridiculous crap. And then it's already starting. Tom Brady to the Dolphins. Jeez Louise. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So, Stefan, yes. So I'm expecting it to still be Cody. I don't know if I've heard rumors that they're hoping to keep Cody's appearance the same with the song and everything. I'm gonna say this right now. I think it is Cody still, right? If WWE doesn't do Cody, there's gonna be a lot of backlash. because people have been predicting that now and expecting it now for well over a month. So I expect it to be Cody, right? What I will say is I think Cody will still have the same song, same entrance, right? And he'll get one of the most massive pops, you know. And his contract, he's getting paid. WWE's paying him. What I would say is I think Cody's gonna come out with black hair. I think Cody's gonna go back to black hair, his natural black. And I don't think we'll see blonde, but I think everything else with Cody will be the same: attire, music, all that stuff. That's what I'm expecting. I think the only difference you're gonna see is Cody with black hair, but that's my prediction, right? Maybe he comes out with Brandy. I don't know. I think potentially doing Seth and Becky versus Cody and Brandy. You know, if Becky loses the title, I think that's a fun dynamic, right? Doing a mixed tag match going into the summer. I maybe doing that at WrestleMania Backlash or doing it later on. I think that would be pretty cool. But anyway, doing Seth and Cody, it should be a great match. It would be a great match, right? I hope it's not Shane. It would piss me off if it is Shane, but I don't think it's Shane. I think it's Cody, and I think Cody's probably gonna get like the second biggest pop of the weekend outside of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm not too concerned. It is something we do got to keep in mind of, and of course, I'm paying attention to Twitter and then the reports, but I'm expecting Cody to be there for WrestleMania and face off against Seth. And that match alone has a chance to be one of the best matches of the entire weekend. Right? We know how great Cody is. We know how great Seth is. Those two together, they have the chemistry right. They're gonna put on a banger. They're gonna put on a banger. Who wins the match? You can honestly take your pick. I don't think it hurts Cody as much if he loses. Because one thing I've heard is Cody's there because Cody got his money. Cody got his money. WWE's paying him insane amount right now. I'm not gonna say he's the highest paid, but he's probably up there. He's probably getting paid a good amount by WWE to come back. Right. And I could definitely see. Remember when they had AJ Styles? I'm thinking back to last time they were in Dallas. Remember what they did with AJ Styles and Chris Jericho? AJ Styles lost to Chris Jericho when everyone predicted that he was going to beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. So it wouldn't surprise me if WWE chose to have AJ or not to have Cody lose. So if Cody's there, I think Cody will win, and then they'll continue the feud into the night after WrestleMania and into the future. It wouldn't surprise me if Seth won at all, because it has been a couple of years since Seth won a WrestleMania match, right? Remember Seth put Cesaro over at Mania last year. He put Kevin Owens over at Mania the year before in the Performance Center. So it has been a couple of years since Seth won a match at Mania. Seth does have some of the biggest WrestleMania moments ever. When we all know the heist of the century at WrestleMania 31, when he beat Brock at WrestleMania 35, when he won the IC title at WrestleMania 34. So Seth has had, and of course he beat Triple H at WrestleMania 33. So Seth's had a great, amazing WrestleMania career. But it has been a couple years since he last won a match. So I would not be surprised if Seth won at Mania. And I don't think it would hurt Cody too much, but I know there's going to be some that would disagree. But if Cody is there, I do think Cody will beat Seth, and it will be one of the show stealers at the show. Next up, and I don't know. I see in the chat someone said, did Brandy sign? Maybe. I don't know. They could be saving that for the night after Mania, for all we know. Brandy was there before, right? I know when she was there originally, she was a ring announcer, right? But I wouldn't be surprised they added Brandy in that women's division. Not at all. King says Cody should win Money in the Bank and cash on Roman. Yeah, that's not a terrible idea. Honestly, that's not a terrible idea. Cody winning Money in the Bank and holding that till WrestleMania next year, and then what? You have Roman beat Rock in the main event, but then that's where you have Cody cash in. That would actually be an insane moment. That would be an insane moment. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I'm already in fatigue of Roman's reigns. I'm fatigued of Roman's, title reign already. So and I'm not. I don't want to see or not Cody. I don't want to see Roman with the title for another year. But we'll have to see. I don't trust WWE when it comes to long term storytelling, but that's not a terrible idea. It's not. And remember, we do have Money in the Bank in July, I believe. So Money in the Bank is in a couple months. So I could definitely see Cody potentially being in that match if he's not in the title picture already by that time. But yeah. Um but yes, I expect Cody to beat Seth at Mania if Cody is the mystery opponent. And like I'll just say this, Seth has had one of the best WrestleMania stories up to this point. Out of all the matches, his story has been very, very, very well done. Credit to Seth and the writing team. They've actually done a really good job with Seth's story. With Seth trying to get his path to WrestleMania. But yeah, moving on. We had Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey SmackDown Women's Championship. I expect this match to get shit on. This match should not be happening. You guys know my feelings on this. I like Ronda Rousey, but she has not been that good. This is not the same Ronda that brought all that excitement in her first run a couple of years back. Her promos have not been good at all. Sometimes she doesn't even look like she cares to be there, and it sucks that they did Sasha dirty. Like, I can go on 30, 40, 50 minutes to an hour just ranting about this. It sucks that they did Sasha dirty in favor of Ronda. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I I, I don't want to go. I don't want to waste time here ranting about this. I really don't. The Charlotte and Ronda feud has been horrible. There's really no interest. Unless the only people I'm really seeing interest from in this feud is Charlotte and Ronda Rousey fans. I've seen the match already. Yes, they had a banger at Survivor Series about what was that? 3.5 years ago? So it was 2 or 3.5 years ago, somewhere around there, right? Who cares about the specifics? But they had that match, all that time ago. And I don't know. This is Ronda's first big match because they had the match at what was it, Super Showdown a couple months ago where they had the tag match with Naomi and Ronda versus Charlotte and Sonya, right? I didn't even really watch that show, so I don't really care. And then you had Ronda in the Royal Rumble, and then you had Ronda versus Sonya Deville on SmackDown. So this is Ronda's first big, big, big match since being back. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I'm gonna get the Ronda Rousey I got in her first run. I don't. And the last big match Ronda had before coming back was a disappointment. The WrestleMania main event with her, Becky, and Charlotte was a disappointment. Sasha Bianca blew that match out of the water, and now we look at Sasha and Bianca as the best WrestleMania women's match of all time. So I don't know what to expect from Ronda, and I don't really care about this feud at all. I am very, very happy that it's not main event because that would be bad. That would be a complete shit show if this was the main event. You know, I think it actually does this match a favor that this match will not be going on last, and that Stone Cold and KO will be ending night one. I think that's a huge favor to this match. I'm still not excited about it. I don't care about it. I hate I hate Charlotte, for being selfish, and doing Sasha dirty like that because this feud has no care. I still don't know what the story is about this feud. I don't. It feels like two middle school kids fighting at the playground. It really is. Every single week, Charlotte and Ronda cut promos on one another. I have no interest, no care. When I wasn't doing reviews last couple months, if you guys saw my tweets, I would tweet out weekly reminder. Nobody gives a crap about Charlotte and Ronda. And I was right. And I'm still right to this day. Like, like, who cares? Honestly, I don't know who wins. Like I said earlier, it should have been Sasha and Charlotte, right? But once Ronda got involved, they should have changed it to Sasha, Charlotte, and Ronda. That's what they should have done. But I digress. I'm not gonna sit here and keep repeating myself. Who wins? I don't know. I like. I'm guessing Ronda's gonna be here all year, right? That's what I'm thinking. Ronda's gonna be here all year, and then when she faces Becky and Mania next year, that's gonna be it. And then that Ronda will probably ride into the sunset, and that'll be the last we might ever see of Ronda in WWE. That's what I'm thinking. If Ronda's gonna, I don't know if someone in the chat has this information. Is Ronda gonna be on TV all year? I don't know. If she is gonna be on TV for most of the year, I think Ronda wins the match. If Ronda's gonna be a little more like part time this year, and she's not gonna be there as much, I think Charlotte's gonna win the match. I don't care at the end of the day. I don't. If I had to make a pick, I would probably say Ronda, just because Fox probably wants Ronda to hold the belt, and because Ronda hasn't held that belt yet. Ronda's held the Raw Women's Championship, but she's never held the SmackDown Women's Championship. So, I would have to go with Ronda, but I don't really care. And Ronda hasn't cut any good promos. Her promo last week was horrific. I don't know what the hell Ronda was thinking. But yeah, I know people were saying that Ronda needs to go heel. I guess, but here's the thing, if they are planning Becky, I know this is like a year away. If you are planning on doing Becky next year at WrestleMania and you want Ronda to be the heel, then you got to put Becky back as the babyface. Which, I don't know if Becky's going to want to do that. Even though Becky is way better as a babyface, and I like Becky way more as a babyface, I just don't know if Becky's going to want to turn babyface again. We'll see what happens. But Ronda's not doing that well as a face either. So I don't know. Honestly, this match gives me a headache just to think about. Right? Do you turn Ronda heel? Does Ronda win? So I'm guessing if Ronda's there all year, then Ronda's probably going to win this match. But and then and we'll see after that. But all I will say is I don't have. Oh wait, my prediction will be Ronda's probably going to win. That would be my pick, right? But I don't care. I don't care. I'm just more pissed off that Sasha got done dirty. That's what that's the thing that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of this match. And if Sasha was in this match, I would probably be going to WrestleMania, to be honest with you. But anyway, the only thing I really care about is that after this match, right, that Sasha gets back into SmackDown Women's title hunt. Come on, let's push two belts banks again, right? If Sasha and Naomi win like they should this Sunday, let's get Sasha back into the title hunt. You can do a triple threat at WrestleMania Backlash for all I care. You can either do Sasha and Charlotte at WrestleMania Backlash, you could do Sasha versus Ronda, or you can do a triple threat with Sasha, Ronda, and Charlotte. But either way, at WrestleMania Backlash, I need Sasha in the SmackDown Women's title match. Don't care. No ands, no ifs, no buts. It's that simple. But that's my thoughts on that. Anyway. But yeah, I got Raw. So for night one, so that gets us done for night one. We're gonna get into night two. Right. We're gonna get into night two. But for night one, let me just recap. I have the New Day beating Rich Holland and Sheamus. I have the Usos beating Nakamura and Rick Boogs and retaining the SmackDown Tag Team titles. I have Mcintyre beating Corbin. I have Miz and Logan Paul beating Ray and Dominic. I have Cody Rhodes being the mystery opponent and beating Seth Rollins. I have Bianca Belair winning the Raw Women's Championship against Becky. and I have Ronda Rousey winning the SmackDown Women's Championship against Charlotte. So, yeah. And you look at it, there's only 3 title matches on night 1. There's only 3. The 2 women's title matches and the SmackDown tag team matches. Remember, there's no mid-card title match, right? You like, which still baffles me. You don't have the IC title match on the show. You don't have the United States title match on either night as well. You only have 3 title matches on night 1. Maybe, I guess now that I think of it, that makes a little more sense. Maybe that's why, since you're doing the unification match or whatever you want to call it, right? You're doing the winner take all match with Roman and Brock. Since that's technically a 2 title match, right? It's a double title match. Maybe that's why they decided to do both women's title matches. Maybe that's why they decided to do both women's title matches on night 1. All right, which kind of actually makes sense, but who knows? Anyway, let me see. So let me look in the chat real quick. All right. So let's talk about the other night. So night 2. I think I'll say this right away. I think night 2 has the better card, right? Night 1's gonna probably have the bigger moment because you could have, if it's Cody's gonna get a huge pop, and then you have the Stone Cold segment with Kevin Owens, right? There's really no prediction to make for that since it's not an actual match, right? The whole thing here is I expect Stone Cold to KO the Brawl, KO beat up Stone Cold and get the heel heat, and then Stone Cold's gonna get that comeback. He'll do most of his moves, right? And then he'll hit a stunner on KO. He'll probably hit multiple stunners on KO, and then he'll do an epic beer bash to end the show. You know what they should do, honestly? You know what they should do? What I would do is after the beer bash, I would have Stone Cold tell Undertaker to come out. Have the Undertaker come out on his motorcycle. Have Undertaker ride down the ramp in his motorcycle and do the beer bash with Stone Cold. I think that would be an amazing way to end night 1. That's what I would do. And if they do that, you heard it here first. And that means somebody from WWE is listening to this podcast. But that's what I would do. I would have Stone Cold do the beer bash with the Undertaker to close out night 1. I don't know what night they're gonna do the Hall of Fame ceremony. I don't know if they're gonna do that, on night 1 or night 2. I haven't heard that, but we'll see. Now, so yeah, but getting into night 2, right? We have Lesnar and Roman Reigns. We have Bobby Lashley versus Almas. We have Edge and AJ Styles. We have Knoxville and Sami Zayn. Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. And we have Queen Selena and Carmella versus Sasha Banks versus Naomi versus Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag team titles. Like I said, I think night 2 alone has the better card. Like Edge and AJ Styles, Pat McAfee, right? Sasha Banks. I'm kind of hyped for the Raw tag team title match. I think night 2 definitely has the better card, but still, I'm just looking at this whole card as a whole, and I'm just like, they honestly could have made this card one of the best cards in WrestleMania history. If they just switch some things, but whatever, we'll see how WrestleMania ends up being. But I don't know what ends up opening. Actually, I think what could end up opening night 2 is RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. You guys know how over RK Bro is, and if you guys saw Monday Night Raw on Monday, RK Bro, they closed out the go home show for Raw. They closed out Raw on Monday, so I would not be surprised if they decided to do the Raw Tag Team title match to open the show, right? You want to get the crowd going, you bring out RK Bro. They've been one of the most over acts in the entire company over the last, half year. So I think that match will probably open the show. Remember, we did see RK Bro regain the Raw Tag Team titles a couple weeks ago. If it was up to me, I would have saved RK Bro regaining those titles on this show, but it is what it is. We can't change things now. Uh Here's the thing. I don't think Alpha Academy is regaining those titles right now. As great as Alpha Academy has been, Chad Gable and Otis have been fantastic, especially Chad Gable. Chad Gable has been amazing these last couple of months as a heel. I just don't think Alpha Academy is winning this match. I think they have uh, close to a 0% chance of winning this match. I think if if there's gonna be a title change, I think it's the Street Profits. The Street Profits have been acting more like heels these last couple weeks. They haven't fully turned heel, but they have been acting more like heels, right? If you guys remember during the match between RK Bro and the Usos on Monday, the Street Profits, who are supposed to be baby faces, they attacked RK Bro and they caused a disqualification. There was no reason to. They weren't at ringside. They just ran in and attacked RK Bro, right? And so I don't know. I think the Street Profits turning heel could be a good change of pace for them, because they have been babyface since they were in NXT. So I think it could be a good change of pace for them, but yeah, I would not be surprised that he keeps them babyface anyway. But what I could see happening, and this is my prediction, I don't think the Street Profits are going to win. I think RK Bro's going to retain. But what's going to happen is I think this will lead into Monday Night on Raw where the Street Profits fully turn heel. And then that will set up RK Bro versus the Street Profits going into WrestleMania Backlash. That's what I think is gonna happen. I think RK Bro's gonna they're gonna beat the Street Profits again. Because remember, they did RK Bro versus the Street Profits earlier this year. It was either at the I think it was at day one. I think it was at day one that they did the match. It was either at day one or the Rumble. But they did that match in one of the first two pay-per-views this year, right? And it was a great match. RK Bro won, and the Street Profits showed sportsmanship afterwards. But I can definitely see, RK Bro winning this match, and then the Street Profits getting frustrated and saying, "Oh, like we need the change. Like we can't get over the hump. Why can't we beat RK Bro for those titles?" Right? So then I could definitely see the night after Raw, RK Bro celebrating their win, and then the Street Profits come out, and then they turn heel, and then that leads to a heel Street Profits versus RK Bro going into uh going into the late spring months into WrestleMania Backlash and beyond. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking RK Bro will retain the Raw Tag Team titles at WrestleMania in the opening match. Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. This one's pretty easy to predict in my eyes. Pat McAfee should win this match. He is one. He has quickly become one of the most beloved acts on SmackDown, and I love it. I love how they let Pat McAfee be Pat McAfee. They let him be himself. I wish they would go this approach with other personalities and other superstars that they have there, but it's great to see somebody who doesn't fall into the WWE political agenda and has to be like everybody else. Pat McAfee is amazing. He's amazing on commentary. He's the best commentator that they have right now. No disrespect to Michael Cole, but he's the best commentator that they have. Pat McAfee is. I love seeing his personality. I love his dancing and everything. I love the promos that he's cut on Austin Theory these last couple of weeks, and it's great. It's awesome to see McAfee get this push, and hopefully this is not a one and done. Hopefully we get more Pat McAfee in the ring. We know he can wrestle. If you haven't seen Pat McAfee and the matches he had with Adam Cole in NXT, man, you'll be surprised. Go watch them before Sunday. Go watch McAfee versus Adam Cole before Sunday, man. I think McAfee's gonna have one of the surprise performances of the weekend. He can wrestle. He can wrestle, man. Just because he was a punter doesn't mean he doesn't know how to get the job done. But yeah, definitely watch out for McAfee on uh f- uh on Sunday night. I think McAfee winning here is a foregone conclusion, right? And I think this could be a good match. It'll be interesting to see how Theory does on the bright lights, right? But I'll be interested to see if Vince McMahon is ringside or has anything to do with this. Remember, the reports originally had it where it was going to be McAfee versus Vince McMahon. Luckily, we didn't get that because I don't think anybody wants to see Vince try to wrestle at his age. But still, this should be a good match, and I got McAfee winning. Next up, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. Anything goes match. I don't care about this at all. Like I'm the only thing that I'm glad about is I'm glad this is not for the IC title. But why does that matter? Because the IC title is not being defended. The whole point of them doing Zayn and Knoxville and me being okay with it is because I thought when they gave the title to Ricochet, that would open up for them to do some kind of cool match with Ricochet for the IC title. I threw this out a couple weeks ago. I'll say it again. I think it's time that you bring back the IC title uh ladder match. Right? Remember they used to always do like a ladder match at Mania. Like they should have brought that back this year. Instead of having Ricochet defend the title on SmackDown, they should have done a ladder match with about around 6 to 8 individuals. Give them about 15, 20 minutes and, have them absolutely kill it. That's what I would that's what I would have done, right? And if I'm right, I think the last ladder match they did was at WrestleMania 32. I believe that was the year that Zack Ryder won the IC title in the ladder match. So I think they should bring that back, in my opinion. But yeah, you know, Knoxville, Sami Zayn, anything goes match. I think this will be wacky. I think there'll be a couple crazy things here. We know Johnny Knoxville and what he does on Jackass. He's willing to kill himself, right? And I'm willing to bet him and Sami Zayn have something planned. And this hasn't been a terrible feud. It's just that it's just wacky. It's just that's what it is to me. It's just wacky. Uh I'm gonna go Sami Zayn here. I know it might be the unpopular opinion, but I don't think the celebrities are going to dominate Mania. I have Logan Paul and Miz winning on night one, and I'm gonna pick Sami Zayn to win night two. Barely, barely. I think Zayn's probably gonna have something crazy happen to him, and I could see maybe Zayn winning the match, but then after the match, right? Them doing something afterwards where where Knox gets payback on Zayn and they do something crazy, but I'm gonna say Zayn gonna should win the match, you know. And of course, if Zayn loses the match, he's probably gonna go back on his conspiracy rant, but and that goes perfectly with Zayn's character. But I think Zayn will win the match. He should win the match. You know, whatever Knoxville does to Zayn should be done afterwards. So yeah, I got Zayn winning that match. Next up, we got Lashley versus Almas. Remember, Bobby Lashley did return to Monday Night Raw this past Monday to challenge Almas, right? Almas, who is undefeated on the main roster up to this point. And this should be a pretty easy one to predict. I think Lashley should win this match, especially because I think Lashley's going after Roman after Mania. Yeah, I think after Mania, Lashley's going to be one of, if not Roman's first, opponent. Because I remember Lashley never lost the WWE Championship. He never competed in the Elimination Chamber. Remember, they per storyline because of what was going on with his shoulder, right? They wrote him out. So he never got into the match. I'm still kind of surprised that Lashley's back, but it's good to see him back. So I think if you're building up Lashley to go up against Roman after Mania, because I think this one I think could definitely happen. Either Lashley's gonna challenge Roman. Like one of three things is probably gonna, or one of maybe like four. Actually, no, I'm wrong. There's actually a lot that they could do with Roman after Mania. They can do Cody, they can do Seth, they can do Lashley, they can do Lesnar again, which they shouldn't, but and then they could also do what's his name, Drew, right? But I could definitely see one of the most likely options being I can see Lashley going after Roman after Mania, being like, "That's my title, right? You never beat me for that title." And we know Roman's heel, Lashley's babyface now, so you can easily have Lashley be like, "I never lost that title. You're just keeping that title warm for me." And then you can have Lashley and Roman face off for the titles and then do whatever, right? I said earlier you should probably do like a triple threat with Russ, do a triple threat at WrestleMania Backlash, but you know, we'll see what happens. But that's what I would do. That's what I would. That's what I would do. Anyway, but yeah, you know, uh, one of the big things going in with this is not only is Almas undefeated in singles competition, but he's been never taken off his feet. But when Lashley did confront him, they did have him take Almas off his feet. Now, this be interesting to see. I think Lashley will probably win this match with the spear, but could he get the hurt lock on Almas? That would be interesting. Could he get the hurt lock on Almas? That would be cool and interesting to see. But we'll have to wait and see. Well, we'll see. But I expect Lashley to win this match and then go on to challenge Roman after Mania. Edge versus AJ Styles. This is probably the match I'm most hyped about on the card. I've been talking about this match for months. When I think last year after Edge lost to Roman and Daniel Bryan, right, in the main event of Mania, I said that either at SummerSlam or at next year's WrestleMania, Edge has to be the one. Edge should face off against AJ Styles. And here we are a year later, Edge versus AJ Styles, a dream match. Very, very similar styles, right? And I think these two could absolutely steal the show. This is a match I hope gets like 25 to 30 minutes, honestly, because they could kill it. And think about it is, last time AJ Styles was in like a dream match at WrestleMania, it was kind of disappointing because we all remember AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura from WrestleMania 34. But I have more hope this time. AJ, you guys know how much I love AJ Styles. I love AJ Styles. You know, and Edge has been fantastic since he came back, right? And Edge is healed now, and that goes with the prediction. I'm hyped for Edge and AJ Styles. I wish they had a little bit more promo interaction on the build of WrestleMania, because they had that one segment, right? But then after that, they wrote AJ off TV for like 3 weeks in a row, and Edge cut some great promos, but they didn't really have that face to face time. And last week on Raw, they both were on the show, but they both cut promos on one another in interview segments. They didn't do anything face to face, right? And I do think this is the start of a rivalry between Edge and AJ Styles. I think this could be almost exactly what happened with Seth Rollins. Exactly what happened with Edge and Seth. I think this is a 3 match series, and this is just round one. So I'm hyped for this match. I think it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna kind of suck not seeing Edge come out to his normal theme, because now that Edge is heel, he does have this new theme. Maybe Edge does come out to his old theme, right? I think he should, but it's up to him now that he's a heel, and it goes with his character. So we'll see, we'll see. But I would love to see Edge do his normal entrance here at WrestleMania. Well, I hope we get it, but uh But yeah, maybe you do something where Edge comes out in his new theme first, then he gets to the middle of the ramp, then he does his pyro, and then his old thing comes on. I think that would be pretty cool. Give you a mix of Edge's old and new theme, because his new theme is fire. But we all know You think you know me. Like, that's iconic. That's Edge has arguably one of the greatest WWE things of all time. So yeah. So I think Edge and AJ Styles should be fantastic. And if I have to pick a winner, I'm gonna pick Edge. I'm gonna pick Edge, because he is the heel, right? And if this is a 3 match series, I think AJ will probably get his payback later on. But if you want to make Edge as a heel a big deal, and they kind of have with the promos Edge has been talking about, right? You know, I think Edge is gonna win. I think Edge will cheat to win. I can see Edge either doing something like a low blow or some kind of dirty tactic, but I think Edge will win at WrestleMania. You know, it won't hurt AJ Styles at all. AJ's had plenty of WrestleMania moments over the last couple of years, so I think Edge is gonna win at Mania. So that's my prediction there. And then that rivalry will probably continue after Mania. I could see them doing round two or something at WrestleMania Backlash, or even before that. But we'll see. But I got Edge beating Styles. The Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the women's tag titles. It's Queen Selena, Carmella, Sasha, Naomi versus Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler. This is the only women's title match on the card, right? For night 2. And I think it could be a banger, of course, because you have Sasha Banks in it, and you have and if you give it time, this could be a banger. I'll say this: these women have been interacting. We know, like, remember the Fatal 4-Way with Sasha, Rhea, Shayna, and I think it was Queen Selena last week. They had a great Fatal 4-Way on WrestleMania or on SmackDown. I keep that spot of Sasha doing the double bank statement on both Zelina and Shayna is still great, and I think she should bring it out again for WrestleMania. Honestly, I kind of think Sasha should have saved that spot for WrestleMania and win the titles with that. I honestly think Sasha should have saved that, unless she can do a triple big statement. I don't know if her arms are long enough, because that's really what it would take. It would take her arms being long enough, because Lena's kind of short, Shayna's a little bit bigger. But I don't know, maybe Sasha can do a triple bank statement to win the titles on Sunday. But still, the match should be fine, honestly. I'm not gonna sit here and really complain, because yes, you guys know Sasha should be in the SmackDown Women's title match, but there's nothing we can do now. It is what it is. I don't know. There's part of me that also thinks WWE might add another team to this. I know I heard reports earlier today that Bailey and Asuka are in Dallas, which I'm not surprised that they are. But I think the plan is that Asuka's ready to come back, and I can see Asuka appearing on the night after WrestleMania. I can see Asuka, coming back and challenging Bianca, because I would love to see Bianca and Asuka, go at it. But me, but I would not be surprised if they had, like, kind of, let's just say they have Oscar and Bailey show up as a surprise team, in the match. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that's something you gotta keep in mind, of course, right? And we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen. Um, 'Cause remember, Bailey is a heel, Oscar's a babyface, but still. But in terms of this match, like I said, I do think it could steal the show. I know there's a lot of people that don't care about it, but still, you're gonna watch it. It is the only women's match on night 2, right? So, and it's not really, if you're looking for a throwaway match really on this show, that's more Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. And I think people are gonna sit back and watch this match. Sasha, of course, um, we all know her WrestleMania record. It's sad. It is sad that Sasha's never won a WrestleMania match, and it breaks my heart that, this is her seventh WrestleMania match, her seventh WrestleMania in a row, and she doesn't have a WrestleMania victory. I absolutely hate that, and I'm hoping that it breaks this year. But if I'm being fair, I think the two most likely teams to win this are Sasha and Naomi or Rhea and Liv. I think one of those two teams will win. Remember, I was confident that Sasha and Bailey were going to retain at WrestleMania a couple of years ago, and we all know that Sasha went on hiatus for 4 months after that. But I was so confident that Sasha and Bailey were going to retain at WrestleMania 35. And then we all remember that bullcrap with the Iconics. And what's crazy now is the Iconics 2 years later aren't, they got released. 2.5 years later, they got released from WWE. So, that WrestleMania victory and that moment were a waste when you look at the grand scheme of things. But Sasha and Naomi should win at uh at WrestleMania, and I think after that, I think Sasha should go straight after Charlotte or Ronda, whoever wins the SmackDown Women's Championship, and she should, try to become two belt spankers again. That's what I think you need to do. Sasha and Naomi should win the belt, and then at WrestleMania Backlash, Sasha goes after Charlotte and Ronda. No matter if it's a triple threat, one-on-one, Sasha needs to be in the SmackDown Women's title scene after WrestleMania. Easy as that. And you can do a nice little fun run here with Sasha and Naomi as a tag team, but Sasha needs to be going after the women's title match or the SmackDown women's title. It's that simple. She's too good to be left in the women's tag team division. That's my thoughts on it. So of course I'm picking Sasha and Naomi to win. I have Liv and Rhea as a close second, but yeah, that's how I got it. I got Sasha and Naomi. Sasha finally snapping her WrestleMania's losing streak and winning the tag titles for a third time on the grandest stage of them all. And I think if Sasha and Naomi win, I think as Sasha fans, I think we'll be more happy that Sasha won the match than her winning the tag titles. I think just seeing Sasha finally get a WrestleMania victory, that's gonna be the moment for all of us. But anyway, yeah, I have Sasha and Naomi winning the tag titles at WrestleMania. And last but not least, the big match, the match we've all been talking about for it feels like eons now, right? Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, title versus title, unification match, even though I have my doubts that those titles will stay together after Mania. I definitely think, WWE could end up separating them again or doing something different. But when I hear, I put a big question mark next to that whole unification uh storyline that they're pitching, but whatever. But yes, look, this is the third time Lesnar and Roman Reigns will be facing a Mania. We all know WrestleMania 31, where Rollins put off the heist of the century. WrestleMania 34, right? Which was the worst. I hate that match. That match sucked, but whatever. And then this year, look, this no matter what happens, and I think most people would say I'm like 99.99999999999% sure that Roman's winning that match, right? Because they're kind of doing this match just because it's like Stone Cold and The Rock, right? The Rock faced off against Stone Cold 3 times at Mania, and the last time they faced, which was Stone Cold's final match, was for Rock to get that final WrestleMania victory. That's why they're doing this here. They're gonna put Roman over in the biggest way possible, bigger than they ever done it. And it's crazy, right? If you look at Roman's WrestleMania history, he's beaten The Undertaker, he's beaten Triple H, he's beaten, all these names, Drew McIntyre. He stacked both Daniel Bryan and Edge at the same time at last year's Mania. She's like, as Roman's career has gone on, his WrestleMania moments just get bigger and bigger. And there's nothing more bigger than this outside of probably beating The Rock next year if they do that match. There's nothing that's going to be bigger than Roman. This year, Roman holding both titles at the end of WrestleMania with the pyro behind him. right? 'Cause that's what we're all expecting. And next year, Roman then beating The Rock. And remember how we were talking about ticket numbers earlier? If Roman beats The Rock, or no, not beats The Rock, if Roman faces The Rock in next year's Mania, that the freaking ticket prices for that show are gonna be freaking through the roof. It's gonna be insane. Like it's gonna be hard to find reasonable WrestleMania tickets for next year. But anyway, well, yeah, we'll see. But my thing here with Roman and Lesnar, I'm just not excited for the match since I've seen Roman and Lesnar so many freaking times. I've seen it at WrestleManias, I've seen it at SummerSlams, I've seen it at other pay-per-views. Like this needs to be it. This needs to be it for Roman and Brock. You know, this needs to be the last time they do it for a while. If anything, forever, because they've done the match to death. You've done it with Brock as the heel and Roman as the face. You've done it with, you know, now you're doing it with Brock as the face and Roman as the heel, right? Like, what's next? Roman and Brock both as faces, or Roman and Brock both as heels? This has to be it. This needs to be it for the Roman and Brock feud, like for probably forever. And the thing about it is, I don't know what these two can do that they haven't done already. They face each other so many times. I'm expecting suplex, 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 F5s, maybe a Kimura lock here and there. I'm expecting Roman to do his clotheslines, his Superman punches, his submissions, and his spears. All right. It'll be interesting to see how Paul Heyman factors into this. But what I think's going to happen is Brock's going to get his payback on Paul, right? Because Paul worked with Roman to cost Brock originally when this whole first started, right? When all this started back before at the Rumble when Lashley first won the WWE Championship. Brock was able to get the title back, but this is where this all started, right? I expect Brock to maybe get payback on Heyman and hit him with an F5, but then that distraction will allow Roman to probably spear Brock and then probably get the win. I could see, it would be interesting. Would they do something where they would have Brock tap out? Like if Roman does that guillotine submission? Probably not. So I think they're gonna have Roman spear Brock, and I'm probably gonna have like a finisher counter just to see how many damn finishers, how many spears, and how many F5s do we see from these guys? Will they break the like that freaking record they did at WrestleMania 34? It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But either way, I do have Roman walking out no matter what with both the WWE and the Universal title. I would be shocked if Brock wins. Absolutely shocked. But we'll see. I know some people have said it would be pretty cool if Roman, after the match, like the Rock comes out and they do what they did with Rock and Cena, and they set the stage for 1 year later at the next WrestleMania, Rock and Roman, which would probably be one of the biggest WrestleMania matches of all time. It would be big. It's a dream match for many, and especially with the level that Roman Reigns has been propelled to. Roman's starting to enter that all-time great conversation. Like him or hate him, he's in that conversation now. He's been elevated to that point. So we'll see. We'll see. But I have Roman being Brock. I'm 100. I'm basically as close to 100% as you can say. I have that that's 0.0000001% that Brock has a chance. I would be absolutely shocked if Brock was the win at Mania, and I don't think that's happening. But yeah, there you have it. There you have it. Both nights of WrestleMania preview predictions done. So let's go over night 2 one more time. And then we'll end the stream. So I got Sasha and Naomi winning the tag titles. I have RK Bro retaining against the Street Profits in the Alpha Academy for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I got Pat McAfee beating Austin Theory. I have Sami Zayn beating Johnny Knoxville. I have Edge beating AJ Styles. I have Bobby Lashley beating Almost. I have Roman Reigns beating Brock in the winner take all championship unification. And quickly, I'll just say what I said against night one again. I have the New Day beating Holland and Sheamus. I have the Usos retaining the SmackDown tag team titles against Nakamura and Rick Boogs. I have Drew McIntyre beating Happy Corbin. I have the Miz and Logan Paul beating the Mysterios. I have Seth beating, or no, I have Cody Rhodes being the mystery opponent for Seth and Cody beating Seth. I have Bianca beating Becky Lynch. And I have Ronda Rousey beating Charlotte. So altogether, I believe we have 15 matches on this card, right? And it'll be an interesting 2 nights. Even though I'm disappointed with the way the WrestleMania card panned out, there's nothing we can do about it now. We can only hope for the best. But other than that, we're about at the 2-hour mark. So this is like the perfect time for me to end the stream. I want to say thank you guys for coming through to the Legit Shoot podcast and joining me for the WrestleMania preview and prediction show. Make sure in the comment section, let me know what are your big surprises for WrestleMania. And, let me know what you guys are doing and what do you think could happen. Maybe a return or in terms of anything happening with these matches. Let me know what you guys think, what you guys are most excited about for WrestleMania this weekend, and all that good stuff. But thank you guys for joining. It's good, this is a good stream. You guys were fun. I would say for this weekend, probably not going to get a SmackDown review. Probably not going to get a SmackDown review 24 hours for WrestleMania. I'm going to try to save up all my energy for the WrestleMania reviews this weekend. Night 1, night 2, gonna need the energy going. But yeah, I would say night 1, right after night 1, we'll be live here on the channel talking about everything and the effect it'll have on night 2 and all that good stuff. And then night 2 we'll do the same thing. And then the night after night 2, the Raw after WrestleMania, I'll be back here again with the Monday Night Raw review, which should be a big show where we get the big reset, we get returns, debuts, all that crazy stuff. And what else was I gonna say? Yeah, no SmackDown review. I might do a separate video depending on how the Undertaker Hall of Fame ceremony goes, which I'm hyped for, right? One of the things I'm most hyped about this weekend is seeing the Undertaker speech. I might do a separate video on the Undertaker because I love the Undertaker. So we'll see how things go with the Undertaker's Hall of Fame ceremony this weekend as well. And that should be hype. And like I said earlier, if anybody from WWE is listening and they want to give me credit, I would have the Undertaker come out with Stone Cold Steve Austin at the end of night 1. That's what I would do. But that's just me. But we'll see what happens. It is WrestleMania weekend. It should be a crazy weekend. And of course, I will be covering it all right here on the channel, right here on Legit Shoot Podcast. So thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to get out of here. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. And you're going to want to have notifications enabled because it's going to be a crazy weekend. And then follow me down on social media. The links in the description down below. So I will see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.